Hello and welcome to the TMC Newsroom. My name is Rich Tehrani. Thanks for watching us. We're at Interop 2011 in New York, and on our program is Alan Murphy, the Senior Technical Marketing Manager at F5 Networks. Alan, welcome.
Thank you, Rich. Glad to be here.
So I was hoping you could tell us a little bit about what your company is up to these days.
Sure. So at F5, our goal in life is to deliver applications to users. So we're an infrastructure component piece, and we sit between the users and the applications and make sure that users can always get to the apps, that companies can make sure that their external and internal users always have availability when they move apps to the cloud or keep them internal, whatever they want to do with them. So what we've been working on here in particular this week at Interop is we're part of the Interop NOC. So we're here to help the entire network's operations center and team manage all of their IPv6 traffic. So one of the things that we do is function as what we call an IPv6 gateway, where we translate between IPv4 and v6 addresses bidirectionally. Most of the Interop network is natively IPv6, but there's still some IPv services and a ton of IPv clients. So as those users come in and try to access a v6 service, we translate on the DNS level. If they need to make a DNS request, that's an IPv6 DNS request. We can give them back the appropriate record. V4, we can give them back the appropriate record. All that cool stuff with v6.
And that's important because we're going to have a transitionary period, aren't we?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And so many people have already started that transition, but they're at different phases. Some customers are just going for it and saying we want to be IPv6 everywhere we can. A lot of customers that have public-facing websites and presence are saying we really need to be IPv6 on the outside so that we're not unexpectedly hit with anything. So the transition is absolutely happening. Yeah.
So from a competitive standpoint, what are you seeing these days?
So we're seeing a lot of focus on the network. The network is kind of starting to come back up into a cool thing to talk about because we've done so much in the network the past couple of years that's been hidden and just been taken for granted. So we're really starting to see a lot of companies that are coming out and saying let's focus on the network. From our perspective, we're much more application driven, so we want to make sure that our solutions for customers are geared towards what applications they're delivering and how they're delivering them, and then using the network as that transport unit to its full capacity in every way that we can, but to leverage the network in order to deliver the application.
Now, are you seeing anything internationally versus what's happening domestically in terms of trends?
We do see a few different trends. In Europe and EMEA, for example, we see a larger emphasis on security than we typically see in North America. Very, very secure focus. They're typically bleeding edge when it comes to deploying security and anti-threat or threat mitigation products. I spend a fair amount of time out there talking to them solely about security and the scope of app delivery. In North America, I tend to focus more on, or talk to customers more about how they're doing application delivery with virtualization. So virtualization seems to be slightly more popular in North America. And then we're seeing some different trends in IPv6 adoption. So Asia, for example, is ahead of the curve on v6 translation. Yeah.
So in terms of the adoption of the cloud and its effects on your business, what's happening there?
So everybody's looking at the cloud, there's no question. And I talk to every customer that I talk to is at least looking at the cloud or touching it. And what's interesting about the cloud is that from our perspective and what we do with our customers and how we work with them is that it's still about infrastructure. The cloud is just an extension of your existing data center, or it's a secondary data center, or it's your disaster recovery data center. But it's still a data center, and at its core it still functions the same way that a traditional data center would function for applications and users. So being able to work on the infrastructure level and help our customers understand that when they move to the cloud, they still need to maintain control and help manage that user migration into the cloud. It's so important for customers to understand. Yeah.
Great. What's next for the company?
Well, a lot of focus on cloud deployments, especially as we start to work with some larger cloud providers and some of the work we're doing there. And then IPv6. It's really a big push and a strong place for us. So talking to a lot of people about IPv6 and just helping them understand how to migrate and how to manage that migration.
Fantastic. Well, thanks so much.
Excellent. Thank you for having me.
Great,
Yeah, nice.
Great talking to you.